practice for the Kobalt Tools 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Nice day here. Temperature ought to hit 60 by the time the trucks roll off. Coverage starts at 1:30, and you're not going to want to miss the truck race or the Kobalt Tools 500 tomorrow on Fox. There's your pole sitter, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Headlines across the land. And I guess the big question is this the beginning of the resurgence for that side of Hendrick Motorsports with Dale Jr. starting from the pole?
I think it could be. I mean, you know, after a great run, that momentum from Daytona, that certainly didn't hurt anything, you know, finishing second down there. Struggled a little bit, you know, in California and at Vegas, but looks good today. The car is consistent. He's in the top 10 in speeds. I think he's going to be okay this weekend. He likes his joint, too.
And that's the thing we were looking at during that first practice session, not necessarily who was cutting that fast lap. But I won't say it's easy to cut that fast lap, but that's not what is important. What's important, it was our 5-lap average, our 10-lap average. I'm going to tell you a guy I was pretty impressed with, and he quit practice early. He's the guy that dominated last week at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s teammate, Jeff Gordon, qualified good, seemed fairly content and happy with his race car.
And that's a big difference from a week ago.
Yes, it was.
When practice was not very happy for Jeff Gordon. Cars are just waiting for the word from NASCAR and for the flagman to ascend his perch, and we'll be ready to practice. Dick Berggren.
Well, you guys were talking about Dale Earnhardt Jr. Things are looking good for him, Mike. I'm in his garage stall right now. It's been 60 races since Dale Earnhardt has won a points-paying Sprint Cup event. But things start with qualifying. Pole here, he qualified second at Daytona. That is a good sign. 2 top 5 qualifying efforts so far this year in just 4 races. Last year, he only had 2 top 5 qualifying efforts in the whole year. Car is indeed very good. Lance McGrew said the only thing they are concerned about, it's not as tight as they'd like to have it going into turn 3. Every place else on the racetrack, Junior is fast. Junior Nation, get ready to cheer. Your boy's got a good race car here. Steve Burns.
Well, Dick, ironically, Jimmie Johnson trying to win his 3rd consecutive race of 2010, the lowest qualifier of the 4 Hendrick cars. However, at the end of practice, he said that the car was doing a lot of things right. And remember, he was concentrating really on drivability, not speed. But Jimmie Johnson said this car is doing a lot of things right and it's balanced well.
Thanks, fellas.
I was looking at Jeff's steering wheel. Look at those. That's one of those wheels that's got that big, I think it's got that grip thing that it's molded in there, kind of custom for, you know, for the driver. It's a little bit different look than some of the normal steering wheels.
And I think even folks at home can relate. You drive a 500-mile trip and you're ready to, you know, you got that same grip on that same wheel, and after driving a 500 miles in a day, much less doing it in 3 hours, you're about ready to toss that steering wheel out of the car and want one that has just a little different feel to it. Track is open, and Martin Truex Jr. is the first car to complete a lap in this final practice.
This racetrack is definitely heating up now, and the more she heats up, the more grip she's going to lose. But this is getting closer and closer to conditions we're going to have tomorrow. The forecast tomorrow, fairly warm, low to mid 60s, sun, so she won't have a lot of grip tomorrow.
I think we'll be able to tell how, Larry, when we look at the fastest laps in this session versus the fastest laps in the first session, you'll be able to kind of get an idea about how much the track has slowed down. I'm going to guess about 3, maybe 4 tenths.
29:22 was Jimmie Johnson's fastest lap in the first session, and right now Martin Truex is up on the board with a 29:91, so that's about 7 tenths slower than the fastest time of the first session.
And so much will depend on who starts this session with fairly fresh tires or new tires. You get a feeling probably in the first practice most everyone started either on sticker tires or tires that didn't have a lot of laps on them. They may just continue to start this practice with the older tires.
And Larry, you know this. I have practiced in the morning here, Charlotte, some of the more heat-sensitive tracks. Car would be perfect. Don't do anything to it. Just check it over and let's get ready for final practice. Go out, track heats up, sun's out like it is now. You would swear that they jacked it up and changed everything under it.
Mark Martin just slapped one on him. 29:88. He is fastest.
And that's a good indicator about how much I think the track has dropped off, because he was the quickest, I think, in the he and Jimmy were right there together in the first session.
Mark 29.88 with a 3. Dale Jr. 29.88 with a 4. They are the 2 fastest right now.
I just believe that this could be a great day for Dale Earnhardt Jr. and this 88 team tomorrow. This is the type of racetrack that he likes. He's had a lot of success here at this racetrack, and it's a very forgiving racetrack. You can move the car around. He's running the bottom right there. I promise you, he'll be one of the cars we'll see hugging that wall tomorrow.
It's good to see the car be able to run down low like that, because a lot of times we've been here and he didn't run the top because he wanted to. He ran the top because he had to.
We understand, Larry, that's a brand new chassis, brand new car for Junior this weekend.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of brand new cars that were brought out for a lot of teams, but that is a brand new car seeing the racetrack for the very first time.
All I know is every week everybody has a new car. That means there's 35 old ones sitting somewhere.
There's another driver who continues to impress this season. Right now, Paul Menard has the 4th quickest lap of this session.
Yeah, Paul was 11th quickest in the first practice. We were talking about him just good and solid all year long since the drop of the green flag in Daytona.
David Reagan is 5th, and Jeff Burton has the 6th fastest lap in the early going.
Watching Burton's car go over the bumps down in 1 and 2 down there. The car moves up and down a little bit, but it's just the body of the car. The wheels are staying planted to the racetrack with the compression the shock's having. You need just enough rebound to keep the back of the car from rearing up, too much.
Marcus is 7th quickest.
And he was good in that first practice.
Very good.
Both practices.
And 8th is Brian Vickers. Rest of the top 10, Clint Boyer and Ryan Newman. Here's Brian.
That may have been the happiest that we've seen him all year long in that very first practice session. Still needed some work, but a lot better than what they've been.
Well, when he gets to Atlanta, Charlotte, places like that, Texas, this guy likes those races. This kind of racetrack.
New name top of the board, best 5 consecutive laps, Paul Menard. There they are at 1:30 today. Ron Hornaday from the pole. Kyle Busch will start 2nd. Austin Dillon is up there. So is Stephen Wallace, and Jeff Bodine returns. It's the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Coverage starts 1:30 Eastern today.
And their finishes here, we've seen them sideways, sliding through the grass, about every way you can think about how to finish a race.
Usually involving Mike Skinner or Ron Hornaday.
They both have been involved on many occasions.
I want to see if Kyle Busch passes anybody on the apron today. I loved to hear last year, I think it was, when he was passing people on the apron down here in 1 and 2. NASCAR got on him and said, don't get out, don't do that anymore. It's just not appropriate. Next time by, I thought he was going to scrape all the paint off the wall when he went into it. He said, okay.
There's his Cup crew chief, Dave Rogers. There's Kyle out on the racetrack. We just saw Scott Speed a second ago. 15th in this practice session. Scott comes in here 16th in the points. A year ago at this point, 37th in the points. They did wholesale changes on this 18 car during that first practice session. He ran about 3 laps, and we watched him pointed to the infield coming off turn 2. They were in the garage area for a number of minutes and came back out. Looked a little better second time out.
Car looks pretty good now. It looks like they've tightened it up, and it looks pretty darn good. It's not all that fast, but it looks pretty consistent now.
Now on the long run in the first practice session, Casey Kane was right there at the top of the board. Right now he has the 10th quickest lap. He's run 7 consecutive laps now.
And he won the race here in the fall.
Take a look at drivers who were in the chase. So they were among the top 12 last year. And right now they're 18th on down.
And we were talking about this the other day on one of our conference calls. I just see 2010 being different from 2009. I just think the competition has ramped up. We've got the Childress cars up there. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is running much better. It's almost like last year in the first 26 races, if you could keep the DNF column with a 0 in it, like Montoya, like Stewart, like Newman, you could make the chase. I'm not sure that just having no DNFs in the first 26 races this year will absolutely get you in it.
Well, we know one thing for sure. those 3 children's cars are a lot better. Oh, we got a car just knocked the wall down off the, it's my buddy, Greg Biffle. He just slapped it. I've been watching him off turn 4. I didn't see any way he could continue to run that line.
Well, we talked in the first practice just how high on the racetrack and that he was about to run out of racetrack, and evidently he did.
And they're going to wave the red flag just to check the racetrack. He had run a total of 10 laps in this practice session here.
Now, in addition to the points you've made, there are some drivers that are saying, well, first let's look at Biffle here.
Biffle, he just way high. He's been there all that first practice. He was up there like that and just finally run out of room. And that's the danger of running that high line and really getting way up there like he was. Bam, bam.
A pretty hard lick.
Yep.
Good thing I'm thinking though, Steve, it looked like mainly a lick with the right rear.
But look, Larry, it's right past the end of the safer barrier, Steve. He hit the concrete and he hit it pretty hard.
Yeah.
Mike, he knows that he hit the wall very hard. Ironically, the team had just told him you've just run real good 5 laps in a row. Next thing he said on the radio was, I just killed this race car.
Yeah, that hard impact was, you know, he got the safer barrier once and the car kind of ticked away and slid back and hit the wall just 6 feet past the end of it.
No margin for error when you're as close as these guys get to that wall. Juan says, you got work to do, dude.
He likes the high line too.
One o'clock is the start time for tomorrow's race. Our coverage begins earlier. And now, NASCAR on the Now Network from NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile. Best 10-lap average in this session, 30.635. Dale Earnhardt Jr. 9 minutes into final practice. Greg Biffle into the wall on the exit of turn number 4. Here comes the backup car.
Well, and they've got a lot of work to do in a short time to do it. I'm sure NASCAR will work with them closely, maybe just do some safety checks and do the rest of the inspection afterwards, because, you know, you're down to about 45-50 minutes to try to get some laps on that backup car.
I know a lot of times you look at a car and say it's not torn up that badly, why don't they fix it? But the time it takes to fix it and then the chance that you don't get something, you can see that right rear it's been hard into the wall.
Yeah, look at the concrete that got itself wedged between the tire and the rim there.
And when it's like any wreck. When you wreck a car, you know, and you start to try to fix it, you find out there's more things wrong with it than you thought. Better just to roll off the backup and be well prepared rather than half prepared.
And Darrell, this is where that crew chief Greg Irwin will really rely on his engineers, because the backup car will be fine. It's getting it out there on the racetrack and get the timing of when it touches the bump stops and the shock packers. That's what you really have to work on.
Mark Martin has the fastest individual lap of this practice, and Steve, he has the best average series. He ran 4 consecutive laps that were quicker than what anybody else has laid down.
Mike, they definitely had a game plan in this practice. Alan Gustafson wanted to work on the front end of the car to make sure that was comfortable for Mark. Mark said the front end was good as far as hitting stuff. Front was good on the bump stops as well. So now they'll turn their attention to making the rear of the car stable.
And that seems to be what a lot of people are looking for, is rear grip getting in the corner and then on the exit of the corner.
Tony Stewart, 20th quick right now. You know, we talked about how this season has affected different drivers, how this season is different from 2009. Some drivers are saying that the regular season, the first 26 races, will really be 2 seasons. The wing season and the rear spoiler season, and you'll see different drivers performing well, one versus the other.
Yeah, of course, I guess the argument would be it's the same for everybody. You're going to put the same spoiler on all the cars. The cars are all pretty much identical. There may be a difference in performance, but I think it'll be across the board. The cream's still going to rise to the top.
Yep, this is not going to take Hendrick Motorsports and put them way behind the 8 ball. It's not going to take one of the single car operations and all of a sudden make them up there contending for wins.
It's still a matter of resources. He with the gold rules.
Riding with Denny Hamlin, the 11 car there is 17th quickest. He's run a total of 10 laps. Here our points leader, Kevin Harvick, in the 29.
And he's 38th. In fact, he's spent most of the weekend on page 2 of the speed chart during the practice sessions, but remains one of the picks for today. Back to Steve Burns at Greg Biffle's garage.
And Mike, to Larry's point about this 16 car, what they have decided to do, the backup car has already been unloaded, but the car they've got that Greg hit the wall with, crew chief Greg Irwin said, let's get as much off this car as we can. He said, take the rear bar out of that. And again, to Larry's point about how that car was traveling on the racetrack, they know that what they have, the package they have, is a good one. So they're going to take as many parts and pieces off as they can and put it on the backup.
Just the thing that I would encourage, and they know this better than I do, I think they've got to get that backup car out on the racetrack.
Yeah, just so the driver can sit in the car. I mean, just things like that, seat belts, mirrors, pedals. Probably driven this car before. That's probably all pretty much in place. But anything, any rub, fender rub. We saw Kevin Harvick go out yesterday, first thing, had a little fender rub. Don't want to have to work on this thing when they drop the green flag.
Watching Ryan Newman, who has the 11th quickest lap of this session.
He'll be making his 300th career start here this weekend.
And let's scoot down to the garage where Dick Berggren is with the 7th fastest car so far.
And that is Marcus Ambrose. He brought the car in and told the crew that he was having trouble getting into the corners. It was a little bit loose. They started working on it, and they discovered that the right front brake rotor had actually gotten into the shock absorber and broken the brake rotor. As a result, they have gone through the process of changing that. Marcus is patiently sitting behind the wheel waiting for all that work to begin, but perhaps the thing they need to work on most is pit side penalties. He has been here 3 times, and in each of those times they have had a penalty of one kind or another: speeding once and tire out of the pit box twice.
And of course the big penalty was, I think, a year ago when their gas man went to retrieve a tire that was out in the infield grass, and I said all along in that gentleman's defense, that was just a reaction.
Right.
Yeah. If somebody hollers you, hey, get that tire, you don't think about where it is, you just chase it down. But you know, he's talking about the tire wheel rubbing on the rotor and breaking the rotor. It's one thing that I think NASCAR should think about in the future, and I know they've done a little testing with this, but it's a bigger wheel, a 17-inch wheel, a little different tire configuration. They pack a lot of stuff inside that little bitty wheel.
Now, our wheels are 15 inches in diameter.
Yeah.
Formula One wheels, Darrell, are 13 inches in diameter, and the reason they don't increase them is because they feel that braking technology would then increase and the cars would end up being a whole lot faster than they are.
But on a Formula One car, the wheel sets all that braking and stuff. It doesn't set up inside the wheel like it does on a Cup car. I mean, we have a 2-inch tread width, and you've got to put those big brakes, coolers, everything up inside that wheel, and it's just it's tight in there, but not any room for aero.
Right. There's your best 10-lap average. How about Joey Logano right up there with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Paul Menard and Brian Vickers? Want to keep up with all the results and stats from the track? You can hire your own statistician like we do, or you can check out the new NASCAR stats package and get the latest practice and qualifying reports, race results, and driver standings at the NASCAR section of SpeedTV.com. Guys from Massachusetts didn't even stay to watch the modified race last night. Our crack statistician.
No, it was.
What are you going to do with that?
He'd have been up past his bedtime. Had to get in.
Gosh, Bill, all those years you spent with Lenny Bowler's team, and you missed a great race, I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Humdinger is 29th on the board right now. He's run 22 laps in this final practice,
which is some of the most laps we've seen run. Sam Hornish Jr. in the 77 has run a total of 24 laps.
Looks like these guys look at maybe 30 to 40 laps. That's what they ran in the first practice, somewhere along in there. Like to keep those miles down to around 100, 150 miles max in practice. We got a 500-miler here tomorrow, and that takes its toll on the motors here.
Yeah, if you run 60 to 65 laps total, then you've added 100 miles to it.
Dick Berggren?
Well, Kevin Harvick is just pulling out of his garage right now, Mike. They have got a lot of work to do. He is currently 39th on the chart. Tomorrow he's going to start in the 35th position. They expected a whole lot more from Harvick and this car because last year in the 2 races here at Atlanta, Harvick had finished 4th and 2nd. This is the same car that he used at Atlanta a couple of weeks ago to score a 2nd place finish. But he has been loose, so loose that if they can't get it tightened up, there is concern that they're going to be just like Biffle, needing to go to a backup car into the wall. Tighten that one up.
But yeah, we talked to Kevin yesterday, and we all concluded it was this race, Labor Day weekend, that things really started to turn around for Richard Childress Racing. A lot to do with some brand new race cars they were building.
And he thought he'd be a threat to win here, both in the truck race later on this afternoon, he or his teammate, and on Sunday.
Boy, that would make you go into the off weekend pulling your hair out, Larry, if you've had the runs they've had so far. Kevin Harvick could have won every race he's been in so far.
Everything.
And come in here, qualify poorly and run poorly. That'll send you back to the shop saying, hey, I thought we had this thing figured out.
It's a humbling sport.
You see on the bottom of your screen, Jamie Mack's a little quicker in this practice, and he's moved up to the left side of the board, which indicates the top 25 in this session.
You know, we talked about it in the first practice. We're hearing it a lot in the second practice. You know, people trying to tighten their race cars up. You're looking for rear grip. You're trying to get where you can hook those rear tires up and you put the throttle down with the speed you're carrying. It's a bit more of a challenge than it sounds, because what you've got to be careful is you don't fix the entrance and the exit and all of a sudden have the thing not turning and bound up and plowing the front wheels in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, the turns are so big that not only are you trying to make the car turn and put power down, that takes it takes the right shock combination to be able to keep the car in the corner, not get out from under you, get loose, and be able to put the power down. So this is a tough place to get a car to handle the way you want it to.
So fast, too.
Yeah, and you're running so fast, the driver sometimes says, I can't tell you right now, I can't think right now, I'm just trying to hang on to this baby.
Bill Elliott also a little quicker, a couple of tenths quicker than he was in the first practice. Second on the all-time win list of active drivers at this racetrack. There are 32 wins represented in the field. Elliott has 5 of them, bested only by Bobby Labonte with 6.
He about just put the Atlanta stripe over there coming off turn 2, didn't he?
I think we go down there after this practice, so there's going to be a lot of right rear quarter panels all scrubbed up.
We aren't yet even thinking about Darlington.
No, not yet.
All right, sure signs of spring. Punxsutawney Phil, maybe 6 more weeks of winter, but one of the benchmark signs of spring in NASCAR, campers at Bristol. The race is 2 weeks away, and they've already started to roll in the Bristol Motor Speedway.
How about that?
As you watch Elliott Sadler. One interesting promotion is fans can go to the Bristol Motor Speedway website to buy their tickets for the upcoming 500 and enter for a chance to win a day traipsing up and down pit road with Matt Yoakum. So that'd be a pretty cool thing to do.
Very nice thing. You know, I watched that whole episode with that groundhog back on Groundhog Day.
What a show.
The one thing I concluded, adult beverages are involved in that whole episode. Maybe even with the groundhog.
I'm sure you're right.
You're a sick man, Larry. You watched the Groundhog Day ceremony?
I did.
Punxsutawney.
Was it on the Weather Channel?
It was.
Yeah, okay. Well, that explains it.
Okay. I understand now.
Joey Logano has the second fastest 10-lap average in this session. Just a tick of the watch, 2/100ths off of what Dale Earnhardt Jr. ran for 10 laps. Steve.
Mike, the update on Tony Stewart. He's going to start alongside Jimmy Johnson tomorrow. He likes his race car. He says it's just a little bit tight in the center of 1 and 2, and it looks like they're going to change the left rear spring on the 14 of Tony Stewart.
A little tug on that steering wheel is not a bad thing because it's not going to stay there long.
No, and that's a comfortable car to drive. And you need to be comfortable here because we're going to race for about 4 hours.
It's the wildest collection of talent ever assembled, and they're going to tape it live on the speed stage this evening if you're here at the racetrack. The rest of the world will see it Monday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern on Speed. It's Fast Track to Fame.
It's right up my brother's alley. You know, he likes music, and He's pretty entertaining himself.
How do you feel about those juggling chainsaws?
That freaked him out.
It freaked all of us out.
And I love what he said. He said, you know how you know he's good? Because he's still got his hands and his fingers.
10 fingers. It was pretty unique. But the fiddle player that won last week was pretty terrific. I can't wait to see what happens this Monday night.
That old boy should have come on down to Georgia because he was looking to make a deal.
There's Robbie Gordon, a 7 car.
Sounds familiar.
Charlie Daniels, my buddy.
Robbie's 32nd quickest, a brand new race car they brought down here. In fact, they didn't finish it till about 3 o'clock in the morning yesterday morning. Had to send it down on a smaller trailer.
Hey, guys, in the middle of the corner.
Because the truck had to park at a certain time.
Kurt Busch, a 2-time winner here among those 12 drivers who have won one or more races at Atlanta that are in tomorrow's race. Let's take a look at Junior a lap or so ago here.
What happens is, especially when you're down low like it, you see it gets below the yellow line. That gets the front end kind of slipping, and you start jacking on the steering wheel. And when you do, the back end, the front bites, the back jumps out. Front bites, the back jumps out. Like that. And that, you can't put up with that. You got to fix that.
But Darrell, I go back to what we said at the top of the show. He's run a total of 24 laps. His lap times still look decent. And to run a car that low, the car actually has to be driving pretty darn good to be able to turn that thing down that low.
Tell you what else is doing. It's handling down that straightaway, too.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it is.
Dick?
I'm in Kyle Busch's garage area right now, Mike, and mechanics are underneath the car. No big problems here, even though he's pretty far down in the speed chart. It's just so hard to figure out who's really good and who's not so good when the tires fall off as much as they do here at Atlanta. Busch is just a little bit loose going into turn 1 and 2, and they're working on that right now. But I think the most interesting thing about this guy is going to be to see what he can do this afternoon in that truck race. He's got 5 starts in the truck series here at Atlanta and 4 wins. 16 career truck wins, 4 of them here, 25%. So that ought to be good. That race on speed this afternoon, Steve.
Well, Dick, Carl Edwards loves this racetrack. We know that. Right now, he is not in love with his race car. Said that he's a little bit loose right now, and they're going to share some notes with Casey Kane. And, you know, Carl said not to sound pompous about this, but I think if we can get the car close here, I can make up the difference. The really good news is his baby Annie and his wife Kate are here with him, and he said the baby's getting a lot of sleep. That's a good thing.
And I concur with what he's telling Bob Osborne, because 5 years ago, Carl Edwards made up the difference at the end of that race when he beat Jimmy Johnson.
Absolutely. And if Ann, his infant daughter's getting a lot of sleep, that means he's getting, and Kate are getting a lot of sleep.
That's the way it works.
That's a good thing. Here are the fastest individual laps just past halfway in this final practice session for tomorrow's Kobalt Tools 500 that you'll see on Fox. Here's Dick Bertrand.
Well, after the start that they had to the 2010 season, I think everybody expected the Childress cars were going to come here, qualify 1, 2, 3, lead all the laps, win the race, finish 1, 2, 3. Hasn't happened. You're the fastest one, qualifying at 18th. What's going on with the Childress cars at Atlanta?
Weekend's not over yet. BB&T Chevy, just working on some balance things, just trying to go through everything. You know, that's the hardest thing. You know, early in the season, still trying to learn and compile all this information, and you know, just going through a lot of different setups, a lot of different changes, trying to hone in on what works the best.
Is there any one particular symptom that's common among the Childress cars, or you guys working on different things?
We're just you know, all across the board working on different things. Just working on, you know, later in the year. We've got a good base. You know, now we got to get out there and reach a little bit farther and you know, find some more speed. You know, we're struggling a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you, but you know, still got a smile on our face. Things aren't all that bad.
Good for you. Thanks.
Tell you a guy I'm a little bit concerned about, Larry, is this 24 car. You know, he was very slow in practice prior to qualifying. They made some changes to the car. He got a great qualifying lap in, but I'm looking right now, and he is on the wrong side of the scoring monitor, setting back in 30th spot right now, and he just doesn't seem to have the speed in the car right now.
Yeah, and it looks like they maybe just put possibly, Yeah, I think they've probably been on these tires for a good part of this practice session. He's run a lot of laps. He's run 28 laps so far.
But you could hear him there in the middle of that corner there. He couldn't get the power down. He was just soft pedaling a little bit. Can't get back to the throttle. Laying out a long time right there. And then here he can't get it down, can't get it. Finally gets it wide open right there.
And you can see the steering wheel going with it. It's because the car is loose. Is the reason he can't put the power down.
They seem to have kind of a can't drive it to it's a little bit better, but not a little bit better enough. He's got his hands full right now.
And again, we talked about him at the top of this practice show. He was fairly happy. He even quit practice early in the first one to wait on his second practice.
Yeah, he was 6 quick in that first practice. Pretty good shape, but doesn't look too good in the sunlight here.
Mark Martin has run 25 laps, including the fastest lap of this session.
And see, Mark was 2nd quick in the first practice. We take a little break for lunch. He comes back and he backs that right up, top of the board.
You know, one thing that we've not mentioned, for the 6th consecutive race here, we have a different tire combination. Goodyear continues to come here and test. They were here in mid-January with 4 teams, which included the 5 team of Mark Martin with Carl Edwards, Sam Hornish Jr., and Martin Truex Jr. We were in this area during that testing time. It's probably about 40 degrees warmer than it was during that tire test.
I think what Goodyear says, okay, everybody's got a new car, we'll bring you some new tires.
And that's what they've been trying to do, Darrell. With the way this track is, the speeds, the lack of grip, they've been searching ever since we first ran this new car here for the right tire combination.
But to their credit, Larry, we've not heard a lot about tire troubles this year. I think we had 1 or 2 multi-car teams at Daytona that were doing some things that aggravated the tire, but other than that, you know, no news is good news.
And I think the best thing that happened to Goodyear was the debacle at Indianapolis Motor Speedway a year and a half ago, because it ramped up their testing, and all that testing they did there, they continue to use things learned from that test at all the other racetracks.
Well, it's always been general consensus, I think, amongst most people and engineers as well. The tires are not doing, you know, if they're wearing out, make them harder. And they found out that's not the case. If they're wearing out, you just need to make them grip better, because there's hard and sliding around. That's what's wearing them out.
Mark Truex, 3rd fastest in this session.
Yeah, he's been looking pretty good all weekend long. We had him on our trackside show last night. He said, you know, I kind of missed my marks qualifying. Yeah. And he didn't qualify that great, but he's looked pretty good in the practice.
Looks good right now.
Wasn't he one of the drivers that ran early and had to stare straight into the sun going into turn number 1?
I believe he may have been. Yeah, the first 9, 10 dozen drivers, they had their hands full driving off into turn 1. We looked closely. It seems like 4 of the top 5 came somewhere between about 13th and 18th of the guys that went out.
But Martin Truex in his car right there, that's the smoothest I've seen anybody drive this racetrack. Watch this 6th car here, David Regan. I mean, he's really working hard. Looked at Martin Truex. Martin was just kind of like holding it to the left, whereas David is working it.
But he's working it well. He's 5th quickest in this session.
You know, if you're one of those speed fantasy racers, Martin Truex Jr. may be a good one to jump on.
Home track?
Yeah.
Home track
Did the
advantage.
tire test down here?
That's a big plus.
Yes, it is, even with the weather difference.
He's working on that. He's working hard in that car to make it go as fast as it is.
And so is Jeff Gordon's team. Steve?
And Mike, I was listening to DW. Ironically, Jeff Gordon's pretty happy with his race car. He said, I'm happy with what we have right now. You might be able to help me a little bit more in 1 and 2. They were just on a set of scuffs. Now they're going to put on a set of sticker tires, brand new tires, and make one more run.
Well, I think he's looking for comfort in the way that thing's driving, more so than probably just a fast lap right off the box.
Well, if you're 30th, it's probably pretty comfortable.
Tomorrow, NASCAR race day soars into Atlanta. Points leader Kevin Harvick, Clint Boyer, and crew chief Alan Gustafson join us live. And we'll break down what's going on at Earnhardt Ganassi after their 2-car crash in Las Vegas. NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot, live tomorrow, 10 Eastern only on Speed. Jeff Burton, 6th quick, going out for another run.
I guess my point about Jeff Gordon was, I said if you're 30th, it's going to, when he puts tires on, if he can go out and run some fast laps and the car is still comfortable, then he's where he wants to be.
And that's where you have to be careful here. The long run is what it's all about. But you also better have a car that you can go quick in a short period of time. If you think about it, that's what won Kurt Busch the race a year ago. Late race caution, and he was able to get going.
Right with Denny Hamlin, who has the 17th best lap of this session. Now, 9 laps into the session, Greg Biffle slapped the wall. They brought out a backup car. Let's show you what happened to Biffle. And the hard hit is the one right there after the end of the safer barrier. Steve Burns can update us. Steve?
And Mike, they are thrashing on this backup car for Greg Biffle. And again, in Greg's words, I killed that race car. Greg got out of the car, went into the transporter. He has not been back since. I heard Greg Irwin say when they first got the backup out, they needed about 30 minutes to get this thing ready for the racetrack. But to this point, they have not been able to get back on the track.
Yeah, that was about 45 minutes ago, and right now we're down to about 16 minutes left, I think, in this practice session.
I believe old Biffle was, he was flirting with that wall. He fought the wall, and the wall won.
He's been flirting with it since they opened the track for practice first thing this morning.
I've been trying to tell him, Barry Landis, I said, got to get a camera on that 16. There's no way he cannot hit that wall.
And we did, and he did.
And he did. Maybe we should you're going to get a radio to Booty. I'll get one to Greg down there.
There's David Rudiman, 36th, and Casey Kane, who is 11th fastest in this session. Casey has the 3rd best 5 consecutive lap run behind Paul Menard and Dale Jr.
So it makes sense, as Steve reported, why Bob Osborne and Carl Edwards are going to take a good close look at the notes from Casey Kane and Kenny Francis.
Casey Kane will be tough here tomorrow, boys. He likes this racetrack. Won here last year. Like I said, a little money on that guy.
Regan Smith, 19th in this session. That's a good jump up from where they practiced earlier. Steve?
And Mike, closing laps here, practice for Casey Kane. Casey said we're going to make about a 10-lap run, make a small adjustment, and Kenny Francis' instructions will go back out on scuffs. Just working on rear grip, Dick Berggren.
Well, right now, Joey Logano's car is in the garage. It's been here for quite a while, and Larry McReynolds, you'd like to work with this young kid. Takes a little bit over 30 seconds to run a lap here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, and when Logano came off the racetrack for the last time, it took him about a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes, to describe to crew chief Greg Zipadelli the behavior of his race car. This is what a young driver needs to learn to do. Be able to feel the car all the way around the racetrack at every key point. How does the car behave when he's on the gas, on the brake, going through the bumps, and all of the things that the crew chief needs to have the information to adjust it correctly. They are, as a result, moving closer and closer with this number 20 car to a setup that will run up front tomorrow.
I tell you another thing, Doc, that when you have a crew chief like Greg Zipadelli, who's been here, done that, and you got a driver that'll give you good feedback, he can fix your race car for you.
And based on what I just saw on that second shot we had, looks like Greg Biffle's getting closer and closer to getting out on the racetrack with that backup car.
Mike Bliss has run 22 laps in this practice. And here's Steve.
And Greg Biffle just climbed back into the race car, Mike. And Greg, we know that your team had said your car was real good, but what are you guys hoping to accomplish with what's left?
Well, we just want to make sure this car's driving good and hopefully get the splitter height set for the race on Sunday. You know, we watched Kurt Busch hit the wall about a dozen times and win the race, and we touched it one time and just hit it in the wrong spot. Got a little bit loose coming off of 4. I feel bad. These guys, that was a good car. This will be a great car too. So just happy we're going to be able to get back out.
And there is Kurt Busch, 2-time winner here. 12 minutes to go in final practice. All right, so what, 2 more races? We get rid of the wing and go to the spoiler? This won't affect him, will it?
No.
Okay, good.
Somebody
Glad to hear that.
Somebody asked me what kind of bird that was. I said, oh, it's a bluebird, you dummy.
It's like some of that Lowe's Cobalt blue got.
I swear it looks like somebody
drenched on
dropped
it, didn't
paint on that bird.
There used to be pine trees outside turns 3 and 4 where those billboards are now. It was all that was the start of the the forest.
You used to come here to test and you'd have to blow all the pine needles off the racetrack.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of flora and fauna. And 9 minutes to go in this session. Mark Martin, Dale Jr., Martin Truex, Paul Menard, and David Reagan lead this session. You know, Menard shows up both on the best 5 and best consecutive 10-lap lists. And here's Bobby Labonte. Qualified very well and is practicing well. 6 wins at Atlanta Motor Speedway. What a run he had for Joe Gibbs Racing.
There was no question for a number of years when you came here in these practice sessions, you used this car as the benchmark. Bobby Labonte is the benchmark how you stacked up.
Remember the day he won the race and his brother Terry won the championship.
Yep, because this used to be the last race of the year.
Yeah.
The second Atlanta race.
You know, we were talking about the horsepower and who has sort of an advantage right now. In the top 10, you've got 3 Chevrolets, 3 Fords, and 3 Toyotas.
And the 3 Dodges are looking pretty good up there.
And the Dodges are right there as well.
Yeah.
So when they get ready to race, they all balance out pretty well.
There's the best of the Dodges, Kurt Busch, who has just run his quickest lap of this session and moved into the top 10.
Which tells me they threw some new tires, filled her up with fuel in that 2 car. We're down to about less than 10 minutes to go in this practice session, about 8 minutes.
His teammate Brad Keselowski, by far the best of those who are going to make their first Atlanta Cup start tomorrow. And Marcus Ambrose, 7th in this session.
Good on his laps too, on his 10-lap average.
He's been pretty solid both these practice sessions. Finally finished a race last week at Las Vegas after engine failures the first 2 races.
And by all indications, qualifying, practice speeds, everything put together, this will be one of the cars to beat on Sunday.
Yeah, it's not a fluke. He didn't get a lucky lap or anything like that. He practiced at the top of the sheet, sets on pole with the fastest qualifying lap we've had with this car, with this COT car. And he's been right at the top of the practice sheet again, both sessions.
Good things happen to good people. It was just this week that Dale Jr. committed $1 million to the Victory Junction Camp for Kids to build the Dale Jr. Corral and Amphitheater up there in Randall, North Carolina. Timing was perfect.
And he comes to a track where he has won before. And all that put together.
Just trying to carry on a family tradition. Dale won here. How many times did Dale win here? I can't even.
9 times.
9, yeah. I mean,
more than anyone.
A lot.
Junior's last win was Michigan in June of 2008. And in the last 135 races, that was his only win. His one prior to that goes back to Richmond in 06.
Well, Greg Biffle will get 1 run probably in this backup number 16 car. We've got about 6.5 minutes to go in this practice, but that's all they wanted. If we can just get 1 run, as he said, and we were talking about, get those heights right on that splitter and the timing of those front packers and bump stops.
What would you tell him as he goes out in his backup car?
Maybe a little bit of distance between your car and the wall.
Keep it on.
Just a little bit.
Could you just keep it low? Just keep it on the bottom.
We've seen Greg Biffle in this situation before. We've seen him when he wrecked late in practice and had to climb into a backup car that had no laps in it and qualify it and go out and bust off a hot lap. I mean, he just get in, go hard.
The most amazing thing I think for me as I think back about things like that is how Biffle and Carl Edwards and some of these guys would go to the nationwide races, never sit in their race car and qualify them on the front row, on the pole, or start in the back. Whoa.
Somebody's.
Want to try something quick? Get back out there, bud. No. Park it. You got to fix damage.
And
we're told that he and Boris Said got together.
I think this is a product of what we've seen a lot in this practice session. Guys are catching guys so fast.
See at the top of the screen up there. White car.
Oh, was coming down.
Yellow car gets into white car. White car moves to the right. Yellow car moves to the left.
White car, yellow car equal black marks.
Caution.
But we saw this with Kevin Conway earlier going out into turn 1. The faster cars are catching these guys so much faster, you almost can't get out of the way fast enough.
Just, you know what they tell those guys? Hold your line. Just hold your line. Let the fast car work its way around.
Well, the difference between Boris Said's lap and Kyle Busch's lap was 4 seconds. That's a lot. Coming up next, the setup and the Camping World Truck Race. And listen to this lineup. Hornaday pole, Kyle Busch outside pole, Crafton, Harvick, Austin Dillon, Steve Wallace, 2 Bodines starting in the top 10. That's 2 Bodines. Wow. That's going to be fun. This was not fun, Dick.
Well, the 18 Kyle Busch's car, they're just rolling it out of the garage right now. The damage is not really bad on this thing at all. It didn't even cave in the door panel of it. The right front tire, the paint has rubbed off the Goodyear on the right front tire, so there was some contact there. But everybody's in the truck right now. The mechanics are in the truck, crew chief, driver, everybody's in the truck. No work being done to try to repair this damage, but it looks very, very minor. Don't expect it to cause them any problems tomorrow.
Remember I told you about body language? That was not a happy body.
Very aggravated.
Not a happy young man.
Nope, had a run in with Boris Said, who was several seconds a lap slower. Well, the Biff is back out, and Darrell, he's at it again.
Yeah. He, I think his crew chief maybe got up on the truck and said, "Hey, dude, I thought we were going to keep it on the bottom," because he was trying that high line. He loves it. There he goes.
And I tell you, his lap times right now are actually pretty darn good. He just ran a 31:24. That's pretty competitive.
Yeah, that's as quick as anybody is right this minute, with the exception of Jeff Burton.
And I would say he'll just run that thing out till we see the red and the black flag, get as many laps as possible with this backup car.
Allmendinger running pretty well, 30.90. And that's top 10 for the lap times people are putting down right this minute.
Boy, Larry, though, as I watch these cars exit turn 4, it's almost like every car, something grabs every car. Right on the late exit, the back end will snap around real quick with so many of these race cars. This is a guy I'm liking more and more and more every time we watch him. He's right up there in third quick, and when we've had the in-car camera on him, he looks like he's holding a pretty wheel.
Well, a lot changes in a year's time, but what we have to remember, the guy that's calling the shots on that race car is the same guy that had a car that led over 230-something laps with Kurt Busch a year ago, Pat Tryson.
So Mark Martin wins practice. 3 drivers really improved their time toward the end of this session. Kurt Busch, who's 10th, Matt Kenseth, and Jeff Gordon. A couple of fellows we're a little disappointed in are Montoya, who is 32nd, and Kevin Harvick, who is 40th.
But look at those names up there in the top 10. You got Menard, you got Reagan, and you got Ambrose. I mean, you got some guys that you don't see in the top 10. Vickers, that's a interesting group of top 10ers.
You got a lot of guys way back here that we're not used to seeing there. You see Matt Kenseth, Jeff Gordon, Greg Biffle in that backup car.
Don't miss the Camping World Truck Series race coming up next. We'll see you tomorrow on Fox.